Good morning, dear students. Welcome back. This is Entrepreneurship 2. I'm Miss Tania Poveda. Remember that this information should be in your computer, so make sure you download it, save it, so you can check it whenever you need. Okay? Don't forget about that. Also, you can take notes on a folder or a notebook, whatever you need to remind the information. The good news is that today we're going to start with a summary of what we have studied so far. So today we're going to have summary number 1, and we're going to remember some information. So this is like a summarize of everything. You can print this information and keep it on your hand or paste it on your notebook or folder if you need to. Anyway, it's going to be online and you can watch it whenever you need. Pause, rewind, etc. Or on your computer on your entrepreneurship folder. Okay? So do you remember the first class we had this year about entrepreneurship? Any idea? Come on, you remember. Okay. We start with this, market. And it's very important that we understand the difference when we use the word market, talking about marketing or entrepreneurship, and market as a place. We studied something called market research, but to understand what market research is, it's extremely important we remember what a market is. So on your left here, on your left, I have the definition that one of my students or some of my students always tell me, especially those that were my students before. So in entrepreneurship or in a market research or in marketing, market is a group of people, possible clients. And in the future, we're going to review and remember that it's a group of people with similar characteristics. Possible clients means that they are going probably buying your products. On the right, we have a more detailed information about market. It says that market is a process and it exists when a group of buyers and sellers communicate to exchange goods and services. Goods and services are products. Goods are touchable products and services are untouchable products. A market can exist in one place or in several places. It can also be virtual. Like when you want to sell a product, you can use different sites, maybe social media. So your target is going to be the one you specify the age, and well, you already know that, and I'm going to explain that later again. But anyway, it can be virtual, okay? Not only like the supermarkets that we know here, like Supermaxi or Mi Comisariato, Aquí, or others. It can be also virtual places. Social sites or websites, or applications sometimes. So knowing the definition of market, group of people, possible clients, people that buy and sell products, goods, or services, I can continue with research. And research is other word to say investigation in this case. So that's why here I ask you, do you know other words for research? Do you remember this class? Maybe you remember this picture here of these two birds talking about other words for research? So we can read this. Other words to say research. We can say carry out trials, carry out tests, test, trial, do tests on, try out, assess. Also, my favorite ones, they are not here, but are quite easier, are looking for, investigation, because you can say, for example, market investigation. Doesn't sound too professional because the right term is research, but it's looking for information, it's investigating information, finding out information, okay? So now that we know the meaning of market and we remember the meaning of research, what is market research? Can you tell me? Okay, so here we have a definition. What is market research? Market research is the process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data about your target market, consumers, competitors, and the industry as a whole. Okay, so it's very important that we remember it's a process. It's a process that includes collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data about your target market. And here, do you remember these pictures? It was one of the first class again. I'm reusing the pictures to explain a general view of types of markets. And it's very important that we distinguish that we're talking about general view, because there are other ways to classify markets. But this one is like the biggest classification of markets. So you can classify a market into national market, as we can see here on the left. We can see the map of Ecuador and our beautiful shield. So we have national markets when we are buying and selling products inside the country. And you move, for example, from Guayaquil to Quito, or from Quito to the Amazon, or from the Amazon to Galapagos, or to the south of the country, or the north, or east, or west. The thing is that you move your products inside this territory. This is only a review because I know very well that you studied this, and you probably remember more than this information that I'm checking with you again right now. Okay? And we also have international markets. And international markets is when you sell from your country, in this case Ecuador, to any other country around the world. It can be those countries really close to us, like Peru and Colombia, or Brazil, or Venezuela, or Bolivia, or it can be further countries like Canada, Australia, Russia, China, etc. The thing is that you move your products from your country to other countries, or the opposite. In the case that you buy products from other countries to Ecuador. So the thing is when you move products from one country to other country, international markets. And when you move the product inside the same territory, it's national market. Okay? Do you remember that in the definition of market research, I emphasize the word process? Because market research is a process. And here we have this drawing, which is really clear about what happens during the process of a market research. Remember that market is a group of people, so you are analyzing the information about people, possible clients, okay? So what happened? And this is the order of the process. The first thing that happens is that you have a collection of information or data. Data was one of the keywords we studied in the beginning. So we have data collection. We collect information using different techniques that we already studied too, and I'm going to review that later. So you start collecting the information. Right now, it's not important to be specific using which technique, but it's important to know that it's collection of information. Then what happened with that data or with that information? You process the information, or step number 2, data processing. It means you are going to collect, after you collect the information, you classify. And you are going to say, this is useful, this is not. This is what I need, I don't need this. So you choose, you classify what you need. Right now, nowadays, all around the country, we have different programs on your computer that will help you to do that faster. But in the beginning, maybe in the 40s, 1940s, when marketing had a big boom, this was done by a group of employees. So you had hundreds or thousands of people processing data. Right now, what you do is that you introduce into the computer, and then that information is going to be analyzed. Right now, we can use computers, cell phones, tablets, PCs, Chromebooks, all kind of devices to analyze the information. So it's kind of faster, because the faster you get the information, the sooner you can start your campaign and selling your products, taking decisions, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so let's check the 3 first steps before we continue. Number 1, data collection. Number 2, data processing. Number 3, data analysis. What are we going to do with this analysis? We're going to step number 4, information evaluation. So here you're going to take decisions. Here you're going to find out if the market or your possible clients are going to accept your product and how much you can sell that product for. So here, step number 4, for me, is like really decisive, because you're going to take decisions. You continue with your project, or you stop, or you change. You take very, very important decisions. Once you take those decisions, you go to step number 5 and you present to the client. In this picture, we have, like in an office, people sitting and talking about this presentation. But also it can be when you present your product to clients. It can be also when you launch your product. So you have a launching campaign and you present your product on television, online, on a public place, with a party, concert, etc. Okay? So number 1, remember, market research is a process. First step, data collection. Second, data processing. Third, data analysis. 4, information evaluation. And 5th, client presentation. That's it. That's the process. Okay, types of research. Do you remember what you should do first when starting a market research? Field research or desk research? These are the 2 types of research. One is going to be field research, when you are face-to-face people, and desk research, when you find out if someone else did the job that you want to do. But we're going to start right now with desk research. Just making sure. Types of research, 2, desk and field, period. We continue. So desk research, it's called like that because it's something you don't need to be face-to-face to the market. This one is behind a screen. It can be on your computer, or it can be in a library, or it can be in an office, or in a building, in your house, whatever you need to be reading and finding out information. So, you know, when you start a business or when you have an idea, the second step is planning. And when you plan, you need to know something extremely important, which is that if someone else had the same idea you had. Because sometimes we have like great ideas, but someone else already did it. So what you should do is to investigate. If someone else already did something like that, it's going to be kind of easy for you to find out the information, but also it means that you're going to have competitors, okay? And if no one else has had your idea and you're the first one with this idea, you can take this desk research to learn how to improve it and to increase your ideas and to make it better so you can handle information. It's extremely important, but very, very, very important that you read about your idea before continuing. So where you can find that information, here I have a list, specialist libraries. Let's suppose if you want to start a business about art. So maybe here in Guayaquil, you go to specialist library. Which one? Any idea? Okay, maybe you go La Casa de la Cultura here in Guayaquil if you want to start something related to art. So you go there and find out special information about art, for example. Trade associations. Okay, you probably go to the Chamber of Commerce or Cámara de Comercio, and then you go to information and ask, okay, I want to do this business, please give me information what to do, etc., etc. Okay, so these people are going to tell you what to do. Government publications, it's very important to know what the government is doing about these kind of businesses. If they already did it, if it's something public or private. Trade journals, there are specialist journals about business. So here in Ecuador, maybe one famous magazine is Vistazo. It talks a lot about business. And also you have other journals, other magazines, a lot of them. You have, for example, Emprendedores. That's another magazine that you can check. And you have also periodicals, which is very similar to newspapers, okay? So that's desk research. And my favorite one, and for sure your favorite one too, it's Google. So you want to do desk research, go to Google. Google will tell you a lot. It's really good. It's going to be in your hand, on your phone, on your computer. So like right now, if you go to Google and check examples of this research, it's going to give you something like this. So you can have a wider idea about desk research or anything you want. But it's very important that we consider that not everything that is online is true, okay? So that's why you have to read many things and find out information in different sites, not only in one, okay? So consider to be open to not believe, okay? So don't believe everything you read online. Just make sure that the site is trustful. It's a site that you can trust and you can check. So that was desk research, one of the types of research, and now we continue with field research, the second one. So after collecting all that information online from newspapers or magazines, we can continue with field research. And the best way for me to explain you what a field research is when you are face-to-face to the market. You know people. It can be person to person, physically, or it can be online. It depends on the technique you're going to use. But the thing is that here is when you are going to find deeper and more important information, because this is real life. This is what people want. This is what people need. And here we have a definition, but the one I told you before, for me, is like more important. Field research is defined as a qualitative method of data collection that aims to observe, interact, and understand people while they are in a natural environment. Okay, I'm going to stop here to repeat this part. It says qualitative. When we're talking about qualitative, it's because we're talking about qualifications from or of the market. It means it's not numbers, it's words, feelings, ideas, opinions, things you can't count. That's qualitative. So you hear people, you read what they say, you observe their movements, their body language. And that's why it says observe, interact, and understand. Because again, field research, it's a face-to-face investigation. So you're in touch with people and their needs and wants. And here in the end, it says it often involves multiple aspects of quantitative research in it. Yes, it includes quantitative, talking about quantities. So sometimes you can classify information into numbers. For example, can you count happiness? No, right? But you can count how many people are happy. You see the difference? So that's why it says it can involve quantitative aspects. So you may conduct interviews or observe people from a distance to understand how they behave in a social environment and how they react to situations around them. Okay, so that's why it's field research, because you are there in the place. You can be maybe walking in a supermarket by the place they have your product and observing people how they react facing your product or the price or the package. And that's why we were studying, or we started studying investigation techniques to choose the best technique to analyze the market. But we're going to do a review about that later. On the right, I include some extra information. Predict, observe, explain. When it says predict, it's because you already had a desk research. So you can predict a little bit how people are going to behave or what they are going to do. Not 100% sure because every market is different, but you can have a better idea about what to do. Then you observe, okay, what's people doing or what they are talking about, or you listen, etc. And then you explain. Okay, so you had your own conclusions after all this process. And you find out finally, what does the market want? What do people want? And to finish, remember that to investigate a market or to do a market research, you need to choose the best investigation technique. Investigation techniques are different ways to get information from the market. And here we have 6 investigation techniques. We already studied surveys and interviews. Soon we're going to continue with focus group, observation, product testing, and mystery shoppers. Remember that each market is different. You can never use the same technique in different markets. The first thing you should know is your market. So you do your desk research, you check on the client profile, and then you choose the best technique. Okay, that's an extremely important question. That's it for today. That was review number 1. I hope that you remember all this information. It's going to be very useful for you, no matter if you are working on business or not. Probably if you are going to study something different than business, I don't know, architecture or medicine or law or dancing or whatever you study, you are always going to follow these 3 steps: an idea, plan, and execution. And then you will need to know your market. Because even if you are an architect or a doctor, you need to know your clients. And then choose what is the best investigation to know the investigation technique to know the market, okay? Well, this was summary number 1. I'm really happy we had this review. I hope that you remember a lot of information. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye-bye.